Alright, bro. So today I want to talk about, I'm saying, how like Star Wars, KOTOR 1, KOTOR 2, the whole story is basically just about the seven deadly sins, like the Jedi. They are more about the peace part of inner peace. So they try to like avoid the seven deadly sins, and the Sith, they're more about the inner part, but it's two sides of the same coin, right? So the way that they correlate, right, is in real life. To have inner peace, you need to you need to worry about yourself and only yourself at certain times in your life. But then obviously you're going to be around other people. So when you're around other people, your awareness and the way that you're living your life because of the choices that you made in the past is going to be what determines if people are listening to you or not. That's just what it is. Because in KOTOR 1, we have the main character is Revan, right? You play as Revan. KOTOR 2, main character Mitra Surik, bro. The choices that these people make and the gifts that they have are the reason, and it is the only reason why people follow them and listen to them when they actually need something. Let me say that again. When they actually need something, not when they want something, not when it's just like, oh, okay, I want this thing that it doesn't actually hold any value. I can't actually get anything from it. It doesn't make my life actually better. That's not what they're good for. They're good for when you actually objectively just need something or someone's advice or action. That is when you're going to go to those people. And you just always will, because Mitra made a choice in KOTOR 2 that no other character in the entire Star Wars universe has ever made, which is to let go of the Force after she had already experienced the Force. That is rare. Nobody is doing that shit. Who is doing that shit? Nobody. Nobody is doing that. It will never be done again, and it was never done before. Nobody made that, just because when you feel the Force in Star Wars, obviously you get to have all the cool powers and shit. So people, they like that shit. But when it comes to real life, it's like the real life equivalent of that thing would be like, somebody, they're like really good at whatever they do, you know, and they're making all this money and doing all these great things with it, and they just let it go and they just go do something else. Basically, like Kai Cenat, what Kai Cenat did. That's why people like Kai Cenat so much. He's just making choices that other people do not make. That is a rare choice. When he said, okay, I'm not going to stream anymore. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go do my Vivette. Who's doing that? Nobody's doing that, bro. If you were put in that exact same situation, you're not making that choice. But it's because he understands that he has a lot of motion with attention economy right now, and if he makes clothing off of it, he's going to be set for life. He's actually going to be set for life, because he knows that he needs to monetize the attention economy. That is what makes him a leader. That is what makes him a leader in his life, right? People are going to watch him. People are going to listen to him because of that gift that he has, to be able to make a tough choice, to be able to get up every day and be like, all right, I'm dancing. I am dancing. I don't give a fuck what nobody else says. Somebody's going to watch the shit and just stream that shit and react to videos and just live his life and shit and stream it, right? Nobody's doing that, so that's why that choice that he made is what made him different. That is the inner part of inner peace, okay? Now, the peace part, the part that the Jedi have down is, if you go through the code, the Jedi code in the game, right? It's, what does it start with? There is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. Pretty sure there is no, what is it? Something about serenity. Then they have there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, there is the force. It's one other one too. But if you go through it, right, from like top to bottom, everything in there makes sense once you control the seven deadly sins. Because there is no emotion, there is peace. Once you control the seven deadly sins, you understand, okay, yeah, there really is no emotion. When you use your emotions to make decisions, to make choices for yourself or for other people, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. You have to be concrete. You have to be objective about things when you make decisions. When you post on YouTube, is your YouTube channel going to do better than if you don't post on YouTube? Yes. So the best decision is to post on YouTube if you want to be a YouTuber, right? Shit like that. That's just objective. There's no emotion in that. It's just a fact. If I do push-ups every day, am I eventually going to be strong enough to do a V-sit? Yes, because they train the same muscles. They just train the same muscles. That's objectivity. That's why it goes into the next one. There's no ignorance, there is knowledge, because once you stop using your emotions and you actually think objectively, what do I need? Then you are going to realize, yeah, there really is no ignorance, there is just knowledge. Because, like I just said, there's only good options. There's good options and there's bad options. So you just know what to do. You just pick the option that's the good option. You just know it. That's just what it is, right? So then the next one, that's what it was. There's no passion, there is serenity, right? I have it in my brain because I played the games. I played the games a lot, but I don't play them anymore, but I apply them to my real life. That's why I'm doing this video. But there is no passion, there is serenity. You get that because you understand that when you are chasing something so hard, like any goal so hard, you're not going to have outcome independence, but also you're not going to get what you want anyways and be able to maintain it because you're so focused on chasing it, but that just reinforces the fact that you don't have it in the first place. So there really is no passion, there really is just serenity. For most people, we're not looking at just ourselves anymore, but for most people, that is just what it is, because it's just like, bro, yes, if you want this thing so much, but your inputs are not reflecting it because you're just focused on the fact that you just want it, you're not going to get it. You need to be patient. You need to be still to get it. When you see somebody, right, and they plant an apple tree, that bitch is not growing for 10 years because that's just how it works, bro. There's nothing you could do to speed it up. You try to speed that shit up, that's the only way to not get the apples, bro. That's the only way. You try to overwater it and shit, you try staring at it and shit all day, you're not getting no apples, gang. You're gonna end up killing that fucking apple tree, and the nigga's gonna die. But if you just be patient, you just wait, you just be like, all right, I'm gonna water it. How much was to water it? I'm gonna go about my business, and then 10 years gonna pass. You think it's a long time, but really, it was 2025 a couple months ago. It's about to be 2027. It's really fast how shit, goes when you are just doing and you're not worried about the other shit, right? So you need to be calm, you need to be still to get these things done anyways. Right? So there really is no passion, there's serenity. Now we'll go to the next one. There is no chaos, there is harmony. When you look at that one, it's true because, like in KOTOR 2, right? Kreia and Revan in KOTOR 1, they would flip-flop between light and dark because they understood that for the story of Star Wars to continue, you need to be flip-flopping it. You need to, because the Jedi have to exist, and then one of the Jedi have to turn evil, and then one of the evil Jedi that turned evil, they gotta be fought, and that's a Star Wars story. Cool, right? But if there's no flip-flop There is no story. That's why Kreia hated the Force so much, because she knew, okay, this is just gonna go on forever, bro. But it is interesting when you watch it on the screen, because it's just like you're just watching life go on, and life is interesting to watch, bro. Like, that's just how real life is, bro. You can't have all good days, because then the bad days. You can't have all bad days. I mean, or all good days. You can't have all of either one of them, right? Because then the other, it's like it would just be days. You know what I mean? You need the flip flop. You need the flip flop for it to have any meaning, right? That's why Kreia knew that betrayal was important, and that betrayal and hope are two sides of the same coin. Anakin Skywalker in the mainline Star Wars stories, Revan, Kreia, all of them, when they betray, that gives the other side hope. When they go to the dark side, it gives the dark side hope. When they go back to the light side, like, that gives the light side hope. They're two sides of the same coin, right? They need each other to exist. No betrayal, no hope for the other side, right? Because it's like, okay, we're just gonna be playing with the same players the whole time. Like, it's not gonna work, bro. If De'Aaron Fox doesn't play like garbage, maybe the Knicks don't win championship type shit. You know what I'm saying? The betrayal is the hope. You know what I'm saying? So the way that impacts real life is with the code, right? There's no chaos, there's harmony. That means that when there is chaos and it stops for any amount of time, then yeah, there is harmony, because the chaos and the harmony are the same thing, but the harmony is more consistent, because whenever the chaos, it's not going to be chaotic forever, right? So whenever the chaos stops, then that just means that it was always harmony, because it was even. There was even amount of chaos, even amount of harmony. When the Republic was, leading, and they were doing everything cool, when the Empire came, it was the same amount of time, right? So there was harmony. It was just different times that things were happening. That's all they're just saying. And then the one after that, I'm pretty sure is There's No Death, There's the Force. There might be one other. I might be tripping, but you get the point where it's like the code is pushing peace. The Jedi code is pushing peace, while the Sith are pushing the inner more. They're more simple. It's like their code is very simple, because it's just like, okay, power is gonna lead you to freedom. That's basically what the code is saying. I'm not gonna go through the whole code, but it's basically what it's saying, right? Power is leading to freedom, which is just true, because in real life, if you do your workout every day, you do what you gotta do, you get really strong, weightlifting, calisthenics, whatever, fuck, doesn't matter. You get really strong, you're gonna get bitches, because you're gonna be on Body Game, and you can leverage that to go on YouTube and get attention economy and do what you gotta do. Even if it's not that, if you just do something every day, bro, there's power in that, because you're doing it, other people are not doing it. So you will be free, because you are doing what you need to do, regardless of what anybody else is saying, right? So that's why the Sith is more the inner part of inner peace, but the Jedi is more the peace part of inner peace. But they need to coexist. They need to coexist in real life for you to get anything done, but at different times. When you're alone, you need to be thinking like, I just got to get this shit done for me. So you need to be thinking more like a Sith, bro. But if it's people around, you can calm down. You can be chill. That's how I live my life. I'm going 100 miles per hour, bro, speed. And I'm going very hard on myself when I am alone. But if somebody is coming into the picture, I'm gonna be like, all right, I can chill. I could be like, all right, I could chill a little bit. I could try to help this person a little bit. I explain, try to give them knowledge, try to explain to them how they can be more serene and all of those things, right? How they can find inner peace and all those things, right? That is, and also just keep peace in general, because if you're acting the same way alone as you do around other people, then it's probably gonna cause issues, because that's just how people are. That's why it's better to just be alone anyways. But that is why the Star Wars franchise is so good, because it's basically unlimited chances of storytelling, and it's just a cycle. It'll always go on forever, bro. You know, as long as the people tell the story right. Obviously, they're kind of fucking shit up with Disney and whatnot, but the base of Star Wars will always work. That coin flip is always going to be happening, especially in Legends and shit. But in real life, it also applies. You need to be able to focus on yourself while you're alone, and then while you're with others, you need to be able to give the knowledge that you gain from what you learn by being alone. And if they take it, cool. If they don't take it, whatever, they just won't get it. But you know that you're doing what you gotta get done anyways, so it doesn't really fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love this game so much, and I love Star Wars so much. It just makes sense. It's true what they're saying in the game, in the shows, everything, the movies, everything is true. And if you just apply it to your real life, then you will have a better life.